Today's video is brought to you by The Ridge. Stick around to learn more about their awesome wallets in just a bit. Being a tarnished means dying. A lot. But when it comes to the lands between, a little knowledge goes a long way. Hey there friends, it's Codiak here. Welcome back to Legacy Gaming. Today, we're bringing you part 2 and everything we wish we knew even sooner in Elden Ring. Now you guys made it loud and clear in our first Wish I Knew Sooner video that you wanted more tips and more tricks, and we're always willing to help a player in need of a little guidance. Just like before, I want to make it clear, we know that there are tons of Souls veterans out there cruising through Elden Ring. Heck, some folks have even beaten the game and completed every achievement, but this video isn't for them. It's for you, the casual player trying out a Souls game for the first time, or maybe the veteran looking around trying to pick up something new. That's why we do this series, and in this case, that's why we're doing part 2. But enough talk, let's get to the tips. One of the hallmarks of a FromSoft game is the lack of direction, but when you factor in the open world of Elden Ring, that overwhelming feeling of being lost can amplify tenfold. Now, we're not going to tell you what every major story beat is, but we will let you in on a little secret. As you discover sites of lost grace around the world, you'll notice some have tendrils of light shooting off of them in different directions. These are your guide to finding the next major story moment within the game. Follow the tendrils to new sites of lost grace, and when the track changes, make your adjustments and follow it some more. The game still won't tell you exactly where you need to go, but at least you'll be in the ballpark. There are a ton of caves and catacombs to discover in Elden Ring, but finding them is a challenge in and of itself. Luckily, there's a handy trick to locate them from the overworld. First, you need to find this Reaper statue. This is your indication that a dungeon is near. By lighting the statue, you'll trigger some blue mist that will lead directly towards a dungeon nearby. If you can't find the entrance, find the statue and let the Reaper guide you in the right direction. Veteran Souls players will tell you nothing is as it seems in a FromSoft game, and that's especially true in Elden Ring. When in doubt, always assume the game is deceiving you. Now, what I'm talking about are fake or false walls. These things are everywhere, and they're often hiding some of the best secrets within the game. When in doubt, smack the wall. That's the best advice we can give you. If something looks like a secret, it most likely is. And even when you think you've got an eye for these things, you're bound to miss a fake wall hiding right in front of your eyes. Today's video is brought to you by The Ridge. Now, I've been using a Ridge wallet for about 2 years now, long before they were ever interested in sponsoring a few videos. The reason why? Simplicity. I had a big, bulky wallet that I hated, but I could never find a solution that really worked for me. Long story short, I bit the bullet, tried something completely new, and that, my friends, is the Ridge wallet. 12 cards, a money clip that keeps your bills nice and snug, and designs that actually look cool. I've been rocking the carbon fiber since day one, but if you're looking for something a bit flashier, they've got that too. Guys, if you're looking to change up your wallet game, check out Ridge Wallets and use the code LEGACY at checkout. That'll save you 15% and let our friends at The Ridge know we sent you. Leveling up is great, and increasing your stats is one way to help you progress deeper into the game. But when push comes to shove, you can't forget about upgrading your weapons. If you're just starting out, you can go to the Church of LA. Here, you can upgrade your basic weapons to +3. To get past this point, you need to unlock Round Table Hold. Here, the blacksmith will be able to upgrade your weapons further. Basic weapons can upgrade to +25, and unique weapons, well, those can go to just +10. Just remember that most of your damage comes from weapons, not your base stats, so don't forget about this important aspect of the game as you're progressing through Elden Ring. Since we're talking about Round Table Hold, here's another one for you. While interacting with the various NPCs, you'll most likely run across a woman who's just out there giving away free hugs. If you choose to embrace her, you'll receive a consumable called Baldachin's Blessing. Now, this is a weird one. While you're holding onto the item, you'll receive a negative debuff that reduces your total health pool by 5%. Not great. Using the item, however, gives you a boost to your poise for a limited amount of time. For those that don't know, poise is basically your resistance to stagger. The higher your poise, the more likely you are to not be interrupted during your own animations when an enemy attacks you. To clear the negative effect, simply use the Baldachin's Blessing consumable and rest at a site of lost grace. The debuff icon should vanish at that point. Just like crypts and catacombs, mines are everywhere in Elden Ring, but there's a big difference between them. Mines are filled to the brim with important crafting materials, the reagents you'll need to improve those weapons we just talked about. To find mines, head to your map. You'll see reddish-brown circles in different areas, indicating the location of a mine. Be warned, the enemies inside are plentiful and the difficulty is often ratcheted up, but the allure of tons of rewards is almost always too good to pass up. Keep in mind those various enemy types we mentioned in the first Wish I Knew Sooner video. Enemies in the mines are often resistant to slash and pierce type weapons, which is why upgrading other weapons like clubs is so important, because they'll make your time in these places that much easier. Whether you love them or hate them, the spirit summons are a big part of Elden Ring, but did you know that you could actually upgrade them? Of course, this is to keep them in line with the existing content within the game, and an important step if you hope to continue using that spirit jellyfish long term. Now, this isn't exactly straightforward, so let's walk through it together. First, you'll need to find Roderica at this shack early on. Exhausting her dialogue options will not only give you that illustrious jellyfish summons, but will allow her to travel back to Round Table Hold once you beat the first major story boss. Once she's there, you'll need to exhaust all the dialogue options between Roderica and the blacksmith. Once you've done that, leave and come back. From here on out, she'll be available to upgrade your summons. Of course, this isn't a free service. She's not running a charity here, but if you have the runes and the special flowers required, well, then you're in luck. What I'm talking about is Grave and Ghost Glovewort, a special item that can be gathered from various catacombs around the world. A better trick, however, is to head to Wyndham Ruins in the Altus Plateau. There you'll find the catacombs and a boss that will reward you with the Glovewort's Picker's Bell Bearing. These bell bearings can be turned in at Round Table Hold, and in this case, let you buy as much Grave Glovewort as you'd like. Since we're on a bit of an upgrade kick, let's keep that train rolling and talk about your flasks. And yes, this is about as basic as it gets, but shoot, you never know if there's someone out there that just missed this information. Around the world, you'll find Erd Tree saplings. These have golden seeds that can be picked up. These also occasionally drop from certain bosses. These are the key to upgrading your flask, and you'll need a lot of them, because for every upgrade, the golden seed requirement will increase. The first upgrade will cost 1 seed, eventually 2, then 3, then 4. You get my point. In the same vein are sacred tears. These have a similar impact on your flask, but instead of changing how many charges you have, they impact the amount of restored HP or FP that happens with each charge. Your flask is your lifeline, and no matter what anyone tells you, one of the best ways to survive in Elden Ring is by upgrading it any chance you can get. It's amazing how many players we still see missing some of the basics within the game, so again, forgive me, but this one's gotta be said, just in case. Aside from your toolbar, you also have access to a pouch, another place where you can assign 4 useful items and call on them at any time. This is useful for putting things like your mount, the telescope, and even the lantern, which you can buy from this NPC right here. Instead of taking up a weapon slot, you can assign the lantern to your pouch, calling it up at any point to illuminate those dark places. There are a number of items that you can assign to the pouch, so for the love of all things holy, please don't forget you have it. Let's pivot now and talk about some important gameplay tips, nuanced things that will hopefully make your time taking down enemies just a little easier. First, to all you shield users out there, don't simply hold down the block button. I know it's tempting, I know it's easy, but it's got a huge downside. It slows your stamina regeneration to a crawl. Run out of stamina and you won't be able to dodge, attack, or even continue blocking when you really need to. If the enemy isn't an immediate threat, bring the shield down, let your stamina fill up, and remember, your timing doesn't have to be perfect, but don't cut yourself off at the knees by limiting your regeneration. Another technique important to shield users is the backstep block. You can actually keep that shield raised the entire time while stepping backwards, and this is an important skill if something like an arrow or spell is heading your way. Turn around, take a bolt to the back, but keep your shield up and backstep, well, now you're talking. Does this use more stamina? Absolutely, but it'll also save you in a pinch. You might already know that weapons have their own unique attacks and patterns, but did you know they also have special crouching attacks? These are often quicker attacks that also give you a bit of extra reach or extra damage. Is it a bit awkward to execute? You better believe it, but if your back's against a wall and all else fails, a crouch attack may just be the reason you survive. If you're an archer and looking to gain a little speed on your attacks, try firing directly after a jump or dodge roll. These attacks are much faster than your standard bow attacks, keep you in motion, which means less of a chance of getting hit, and just look pretty damn cool. This one's a bit weird, but it's worth pointing out. If you like living on the edge, literally fighting near a cliff or precipice, it seems FromSoft has worked a little code magic to avoid you falling to your death. Basically, if the fall would kill you and your attacks push you close to the edge, some invisible force will prevent you from falling outright. As for walking, running, or getting knocked off the ledge by an enemy attack, well, that's on you, friend. Sometimes things just don't go your way and you'll take shot after shot to the face. When necessary, feel free to take a double shot of your flask. To execute a double drink, quickly tap the corresponding key. This will string 2 chugs together but only require 1 animation. It's a great trick I bet a ton of new players never realized, and one I hope will save you and help you get through some of the more ruthless challenges in the game. Now, a quick warning, we wanted to include some additional tips in this video, but they break away from our traditional broad brush approach. What I mean to say is we have to dive into some very Elden Ring specific information here, and that means a few spoilers. Nothing related to any major story beats, but still, it had to be said. Whenever you defeat a main story boss, you'll receive a special essence. These can be used to unlock corresponding unique weapons at Round Table Hold. Well, those giant walking mausoleums you saw in the trailer and around the world actually hold the key to unlocking those essences even more. Each boss drop can unlock 2 items, but sadly, you only have 1 essence. So what can you do? Bring the giant essence into the walking building, of course. In all seriousness, you can bring the essence into the mausoleum to duplicate it, giving you the ability to turn in the essence for both unique weapons or 2 of the same weapons if you plan on dual wielding. A fair warning, each mausoleum can only be used once and there are a limited number in the world, so think very carefully about what you plan on unlocking. To access the mausoleum, you need to force the sentient building into the ground. Look for white patches on their legs or on top of the mausoleum itself. Breaking enough of these will force the building to sink down, and you'll gain access inside. This next tip is going to be a bit complex, but bear with me as it's crucial for completing the game. If you've beaten the first major boss, Godric the Grafted, you might have noticed you received a great rune. Every major story boss drops one of these powerful items, but what are they for? It's a good question, one the game doesn't come outright and tell you. Shocker. Once you defeat a major boss, you'll need to find the site of power located somewhere in the zone where you defeated that boss. In this case, the Divine Tower, which is located northeast of Stormvale Castle. Keep in mind this is only the site of power for this particular rune, but once you reach the destination and activate the statue, you're nearly there. Head back to any site of Lost Grace, rest, and you'll see a new option, Great Runes, in the menu. This will allow you to equip the rune to the chosen slot, but alas, we're still not done. Great Runes can't be utilized unless you have a Rune Arc, items that can be bought or found in limited quantities throughout the world. You can also acquire them if you help a friend or random stranger defeat a boss in co-op. We do have a step-by-step guide video on how to do that, just in case you weren't aware of FromSoft's twisted way of matchmaking. With the Rune Arc in hand and your Great Rune equipped, you can activate the Great Rune Boost, which will last until you die, so use these wisely. This is a great way to give yourself a substantial edge, especially right before a major encounter, but if you die, you'll need another Rune Arc to re-engage the boost. Keep in mind that each Great Rune has a different effect, so experiment to find out which one benefits your playstyle the best. Souls games have always had a ton of build potential, and if you're new to the game, chances are you probably messed up your character something awful. Luckily, there's a way to fully respec your character within Elden Ring. Once you've completed the Academy of Rhea Lucaria located here, you'll have access to a new NPC, the boss you just faced. By giving her a larval tear, she'll reset your entire array of stats and allow you to reallocate all of your runes. This is an incredibly useful tool for rebuilding your character mid-game, and while Respeccing isn't some groundbreaking new feature, it's not something very accessible in other FromSoft games, so it's a big deal. Keep in mind there are only 14 larval tiers that we know of in the game right now, so your respecs are limited, but still, 14 is pretty generous if you ask me. If you're still relatively early on in your Elden Ring experience, you can find a larval tier by killing a specific enemy on the cliff sides of Limgrave. One of them will transform into a bear, and once the bear is defeated, you'll get your hands on the item and your ability to respec. So there you have it, a whole new set of tips and tricks to help you conquer the lands between, and make your experience in Elden Ring just a bit better. Of course, if this video did help you at all, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing. Wish I Knew Sooner is one of our biggest series here on the channel, and we'll be making more videos just like this when the next big game drops, so keep it right here and never miss a thing. You can also join us on Discord. We've got a great community of over 20,000 members with a section dedicated just for Elden Ring, so check out the link below and join today. Finally, if you like everything we're doing here on the channel and you want to support us even more, you can do so by becoming a member. For just a few bucks, you're helping Livid and I achieve our dreams of making YouTube a full-time passion. My name is Codiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.